Carol from Michigan had been holding SCHD for 6 years. She checked her account last week and noticed something strange. Valero Energy, a stock she had watched climb nearly 80% over the past year, was gone. So was Halliburton. So were 20 other names she recognized. She called her son. Did they break SCHD? They didn't. What happened was actually the opposite. On March 23, 2026, SCHD completed its annual Reconstitution, its yearly rebuild. The fund swapped out 22 holdings and brought in 25 new ones. This is the largest reshuffling SCHD has made in recent history, affecting nearly 30% of the fund's total weight. And by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why it happened, what it means for your income, and the one number that tells you whether this was genius or terrible timing. Here's what most people watching the headlines are missing. The stocks SCHD sold weren't weak, they were winners. And the stocks it bought, most of them are down, some by nearly 50%. That's the part that will either scare you or make you nod slowly and say, "Now I get it." Quick note, I'm not a financial advisor or government employee. Everything here is for educational purposes only. For your specific situation, always check with a qualified professional. This video is also current as of March 2026. Always verify the latest fund details directly with Schwab. What got sold and why? So why did SCHD dump Valero after it climbed 80%? The answer is simple once you understand how the fund works. SCHD doesn't pick stocks based on price. It picks them based on a quality score. 4 factors measured every single year: financial strength, profitability, dividend yield, and 5-year dividend growth rate. When a stock's score drops below the top 100, it exits. No emotion, no override, no portfolio manager judgment call. Here's the mechanism that most people never fully grasp. Dividend yield equals dividend divided by price. When a stock's price runs up 80%, its yield collapses. Valero's yield dropped all the way to 1.97%, and SCHD's minimum eligibility floor this year was 2.07%. That 0.1% ended a 6-year relationship. Halliburton told a nearly identical story, up 46% in price with a yield compressed to around 1.87%. But the quality score made it worse. Halliburton's earnings fell nearly 49% last year. Free cash flow dropped by 1/3. The dividend growth that looked impressive was mostly a recovery from a cut made during COVID, not genuine compounding. And here is the number that ties it all together. Across all 22 stocks that left the fund, the average 5-year dividend growth rate was just 37%. These weren't poor companies, they just had limited income growth ahead of them, and SCHD's only job is to build income that grows. So now you know what left, but here's where it gets genuinely interesting, because look at what was brought in to replace them. The beaten down buys, genius or gamble? The 25 stocks SCHD added averaged 63% 5-year dividend growth, nearly double the group they replaced. But on the surface, many of them look beaten up right now. Accenture is down about 35% from its high. Blackstone is down 41%. And the biggest addition of all, the name taking a full 4% maximum weight slot and entering the top 10 immediately, is UnitedHealth Group, down 48% from its peak. That's the one people are debating all over investor forums. So let me give you the real picture. In December 2024, UnitedHealthcare's CEO was killed in a targeted attack outside a hotel in New York City. That tragedy triggered a wave of public anger, congressional scrutiny, and eventually a Department of Justice investigation into Medicare billing practices. At the same time, federal regulators proposed lower reimbursement rates for Medicare Advantage plans. Medical costs climbed, earnings missed, the CEO resigned. In January 2026, UnitedHealth warned investors it was expecting its first revenue decline in nearly 30 years. The stock fell from an all-time high of $600 to roughly $270 today, a 48% collapse.
Now here is what the SCHD index sees. It doesn't look at price, it looks at fundamentals. UnitedHealth generated $447 billion in revenue last year, up 12%. Operating cash flow was nearly $20 billion, and the company has raised its dividend for 17 consecutive years, through the CEO tragedy, through the DOJ investigation, through every earnings miss. The dividend was never cut, not even once. SCHD's quality screen saw a financially strong, highly profitable company with a 17-year dividend growth streak, now yielding more than it ever has before. That's what the rules said. In it goes at the maximum 4% weight right into the top 10. Before I show you what this reconstitution means for your actual income, drop a comment right now. Are you currently holding SCHD or are you watching from the sidelines? I read every single comment.
Here's the myth circulating on financial forums right now. SCHD just sold its winners to buy a broken health insurance company. This fund has lost its edge. Here's the truth. SCHD has done this exact thing, sell high, buy quality at a discount, every March for 14 years. In the 2025 Reconstitution, the fund loaded up on beaten-down energy stocks, ConocoPhillips, ExxonMobil, Chevron. By early 2026, those positions had driven 16 percentage points of outperformance versus the S&P 500. SCHD pulled in over $19 billion in new investor money as people rotated in. In 2024, it added Bristol-Myers Squibb and Cincinnati Financial. Both beaten down, both recovered. The removed stocks underperformed the additions. This is not a fund that got lucky once. This is a 14-year, $98 billion proof of concept. Since inception, SCHD has compounded at 13.3% annually, turning a $100,000 investment into over $578,000 over those 14 years. Now here's the part of this story that Carol from Michigan needs written down because it's the part most people overlook. When SCHD sold those 22 stocks, Carol owed $0 in capital gains taxes. ETFs use what are called in-kind transactions when they reconstitute. The authorized participants, large financial institutions, exchange baskets of securities directly. No shares are sold on the open market. No capital gain is passed to you as a shareholder. In 2024, only 5% of ETFs distributed capital gains to investors versus 43% of mutual funds. SCHD has distributed $0 capital gains in its entire history. The only time Carol pays taxes is when she decides to sell her own shares. If you're holding SCHD in a taxable brokerage account, you don't need to do a thing. But here is the question that actually matters for retirement income. What does this reconstitution mean for your check in real dollars 5 years from now? What this means for your income? Let's run the numbers on a real example. Say you have $300,000 in SCHD. At today's yield of roughly 3.5%, that generates about $10,500 per year, around $875 a month. Now here's what the reconstitution actually did to that income stream. Under the old group, the 22 stocks that just left, with an average 5-year dividend growth rate of 37%, that $10,500 would have grown to roughly $14,385 per year by year 5. Under the new group, the 25 stocks that just entered, with an average 5-year dividend growth rate of 63%, that same $10,500 grows to roughly $17,115 per year by year 5. That's nearly $2,730 more per year from the exact same initial investment. Over the full 5 years, the cumulative difference is close to $3,800 in additional income. Think about it this way. 2 people own the same car today. Both cars are going the same speed right now, but one has a 4-cylinder engine and the other has a 6.
In 5 years, when fuel gets more expensive and the road gets steeper, only one of them can keep up with what retirement actually costs. The Reconstitution didn't change what SCHD pays you today. It changed what SCHD will pay you in 5 years. SCHD doesn't manage your emotions, it manages your income. And right now, it just upgraded the engine. So what should smart retirees do right now? For SCHD, the answer is this: nothing. The Reconstitution is complete. The portfolio has updated automatically. Your quarterly income continues uninterrupted. No tax event, no paperwork, no decisions required. The one thing worth 5 minutes of your time is simple. Ask yourself, do I still know why I own this fund? If you bought SCHD for growing, qualified dividend income backed by real quality fundamentals, then nothing has changed. The rules worked exactly as they were designed to work. If someone you know is watching their SCHD account right now and wondering if something went wrong, share this video with them. It could save them a real headache. And drop a comment right here. Does buying UnitedHealth at a 48% discount feel like a genius contrarian move to you, or does it still make you nervous? I want to hear both sides. Every comment gets read. If you're building retirement income and want to stay ahead of changes like this, subscribe to Dividend Hustle. I cover everything that protects and grows your income in retirement. And next time, I'm breaking down SCHD's new sector mix after this reconstitution and comparing it against what the fund looked like at inception. You might be surprised how much has changed and what it signals about where this fund is headed.